Have you ever cried so hard in sujud and wondered if anyone was even listening? Have you asked yourself, why is this still happening? Why is there no change, my beloved brothers and sisters? Just because you can't see movement doesn't mean Allah isn't working behind the scenes. Sometimes He delays the response not to deny you, but to prepare a better version of it. You may be crying tonight, but Allah is already writing relief for tomorrow. He knows your pain, He knows your tears, and He promises, verily with hardship comes ease. So don't lose hope. Healing may already be on its way. Allah hears every tear before it falls, even when no one else does. Tears are not weakness. They are silent conversations between your heart and your Creator. Sometimes you can't explain the pain, but your tears do. Even when you can't form the words, Allah understands what your heart is trying to say. Before a tear falls, He knows the emotion behind it. He is Al-Bas, the all-seeing, watching over you. In the moments when even your loved ones fail to notice, never underestimate the power of a tear shed in sincere dua. In those quiet moments when you cry into your pillow and feel unseen, know that Allah is closer than your breath. The Quran reminds us indeed Allah is with the patient. He is not distant when you are broken. His mercy surrounds you in ways you cannot comprehend. Every sigh, every heartbreak, every sob is being recorded by the one who heals hearts. You may feel forgotten by the world, but you are never forgotten by your Lord. Pain can isolate you. It can make you feel as though no one will understand. But remember, even the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi cried, and he was the most beloved to Allah. Crying isn't a sign of weakness in faith. It is a sign of connection. When you cry to Allah, it is not a breakdown. It is a breakthrough. It is you turning to the only one who can truly fix what's inside. Your tears carry your sincerity. When no one else notices the storm in your heart, Allah does. He listens when your voice trembles. He comforts when the world feels cold, and He sends peace that no human touch can provide. As He says in the Quran, and your Lord says, call upon me. I will respond to you. Crying to Allah is not complaining, it is trusting. Sometimes we hide our sadness from others to appear strong, but the one who created you doesn't need you to pretend. Allah knows the battles you don't speak of. He sees the effort behind your silence. So let your tears fall not in hopelessness, but in hope. Hope that your Lord hears. Hope that He responds. Hope that His mercy will lift you again. There are du'as made without words, only tears. And those are among the most powerful, because when the heart speaks in pain, Allah listens in mercy. Even when the world is loud, your silent tears reach the heavens. Even when your tongue is still, your eyes are testifying to your struggle. And Allah does not leave the struggling heart unanswered. When you cry in secret, angels witness your trust in your Lord. The Prophet ﷺ said that Allah is closest to His servant during the last part of the night. In those moments of Allah hears your silent tears, solitude, your tears are never wasted. They're collected, valued, and answered sometimes in ways you cannot yet understand. Your tear today might be the reason for your ease tomorrow. It's in your lonely nights that Allah draws you closer. Your pain becomes the door to deeper connection. He removes people sometimes not to hurt you, but to make space for you to turn back to Him. The tears that no one sees, He counts. The heartbreaks that no one understands, He heals. When you feel completely alone, He is holding your heart. Even the strongest hearts have moments of weakness, and in Islam, crying is not shameful. The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi cried when he lost loved ones, when he prayed for his Ummah, when he stood before his Lord. Tears are not a flaw. They're a form of worship when shed in remembrance and reliance. So let them flow in front of Allah, for He loves a heart that turns to Him. When we cry to people, they may get tired. When we cry to Allah, He comes closer. People may offer sympathy, but only Allah offers healing. Your sadness is not hidden from Him. Every sob is known. Every emotion is understood. There is no dua too quiet, no tear too small for the one who knows even what is hidden in your chest. Your journey through pain is not ignored. Allah is writing your story with His mercy, and every tear is a verse, every struggle is a page, every prayer is a turning point, and while the world may not applaud your resilience, Allah counts every moment of patience as worship. He promises in the Quran that with hardship comes ease, not might but will. So if today you cry, let it be in sujud. Let your pain find its place before the one who never rejects a sincere heart. And remember, the tear that falls with faith is more powerful than 1,000 words without it. Before you even cry, Allah knows why. Before you even speak, Allah has already begun to respond. All He asks is that you turn to Him. What feels delayed is often being prepared by Allah with perfection. Delay is not denial, it is divine design. When something you've prayed for doesn't arrive on your timeline, it's not because Allah has forgotten you. It's because He's perfecting it. He knows what you don't. He sees what's ahead, and He prepares in silence what will one day arrive in beauty. Your waiting is not wasted. It's being written with mercy and wisdom. Sometimes if Allah gave you what you wanted too soon, it would harm you. So He holds it back not to punish but to protect. The seed of a tree doesn't bloom overnight. It's nurtured underground away from sight before it breaks through. Your dua is like that seed. Just because you don't see it growing doesn't mean it's not alive. Trust Allah's unseen timing. You may feel like your peers are ahead, that others are receiving blessings while you're stuck, but Allah customizes each journey. What you see as delay is Allah crafting a route made just for you. He is never late. He is only aligning the power of Tawakkul in hard times life with what your soul truly needs. And sometimes what we think we need isn't what will serve us best. Every moment of waiting refines something inside you. Patience, resilience, humility, these qualities grow while you wait. If Allah gave us everything instantly, we would never learn sabar, and without sabar, faith is hollow. The delay becomes a classroom, a sacred training ground where your heart becomes worthy of what's coming. Allah is Al-Hakim, the most wise, and His wisdom always outweighs our desires. Sometimes He delays to test if you love the gift more than the giver. Do you want the blessing more than you want His closeness? The delay reveals your heart. It shows whether your worship is consistent or conditional, whether your faith endures the silence. The Prophet waited 40 years before receiving revelation. Asif Alisam spent years in prison before being honored. Miam Ali endured solitude before being lifted in status. Every story in the Quran teaches this. Delay is preparation. Allah never wastes the pain of waiting. He uses it to purify and elevate. When you pray and the answer doesn't come right away, remember even unanswered du'as are answered in a better way. Sometimes with protection, sometimes with something greater, sometimes with Jannah itself. Allah responds either by giving what you asked, giving something better, or removing a harm you didn't know was near. Don't confuse silence with absence. Allah works behind the scenes in ways you can't imagine. The doors He's opening, the hearts He's softening, the timing He's aligning all happen in divine sequence. You don't see the threads He's weaving, but one day the masterpiece will be revealed and you'll say, Subhanallah, this was worth the wait. There is a reason patience is one of the most rewarded acts in Islam. Allah knows how hard it is to wait with hope, but He also knows how strong it makes you. Every day you continue to trust Him is a day your iman grows, and the delay, instead of breaking you, becomes the foundation of unshakable faith. We live in a world that praises speed, but Allah's pace is perfect. He doesn't rush. He gives when the moment is right. You may not get what you asked for, but you'll get what your soul needs. And often when you finally receive the delayed blessing, you'll realize why it took so long. His plan was always better. When you feel tired, return to the Quran. It reminds you that Allah never forgets His servants, that He is with the patient, that His promises are true. Remember, every prophet waited. Every righteous soul was tested, and not one was ever let down. Your delay has purpose. Your pain is being written as worship. So breathe, keep walking, keep praying, and when you feel like giving up, whisper this to your heart. What feels delayed is only being prepared by the one who never makes mistakes. Trust His plan even when you can't trace it, because one day what you waited for will arrive with such beauty that it will erase the ache of every waiting moment. Your heartbreak is not ignored. It's a doorway to divine mercy. When your heart breaks, it feels like the world is collapsing inside you. When it feels like nothing is changing, you cry silently, wondering if anyone sees your pain. But even before the tear falls, Allah knows it. In fact, heartbreak is one of most honest forms of dua because pain humbles you. It brings you to your knees, and from that posture of surrender, mercy begins. Allah does not ignore the broken-hearted. In Surah, He says He is with the broken and those who repent. Your pain is not unnoticed. It is sacred. It's in these fragile moments that your heart becomes most sincere, most open, most desperate for divine connection. And that's exactly when His mercy draws nearest. When you are rejected, abandoned, or betrayed, know that this too is a form of redirection. What was taken from you was never written for you, and what is written for you cannot be taken. This heartbreak, though heavy, is a shift, not an end. It's Allah turning your heart away from something temporary and towards something eternal. Sometimes heartbreak reveals the idol in your heart, the place where you placed your trust above Allah, a person, a goal, a hope. When it shatters, you feel lost, but that collapse is mercy, because Allah doesn't want your heart to depend on what can leave. He wants your heart safe with Him alone. There is a kind of closeness to Allah that only exists in hardship. When you're heartbroken, your duas are raw. You don't speak from pride, you speak from pain, and Allah loves those broken whispers. The Prophet said, 3 supplications are never rejected, and one is the supplication of the oppressed. Your heartbreak echoes in the heavens. The dunya will often break what it cannot fix, but Allah breaks only to rebuild stronger, cleaner, purer. What feels like a wound is actually a doorway, a portal to a new level of tawakkul, trust, sabah, patience, and awareness. It opens you to a love that doesn't fail, a mercy that doesn't expire. We must remember that Miriam Alisam cried out in deep anguish, saying she wished she had died, but soon after Allah sent her shade, water, and the miracle of Islam. Even the most beloved were broken, and yet Allah's mercy always followed the pain. Your story is no different. Every heartbreak trains your heart to let go of illusions, the illusion of control, the illusion of perfection, the illusion that someone else is your source of love and peace. Allah strips these lies away not to harm you, but to center you in truth, that He alone is your refuge. You are not weak for crying. The Prophet cried for his lost loved ones. He grieved, but never despaired. That's the balance we must seek. Feel the pain, but anchor it in purpose. Let it humble you, but not crush you. Let it open your hands to the one who never lets go. Healing is not the opposite of heartbreak, it is the journey through it. And the most powerful healing comes not when everything is fixed, but when your heart learns to rest in the of Allah. You may still feel pain, but peace will begin to coexist with it. That's divine mercy. Allah is Alman, the most merciful even in heartbreak. Why Allah's timing is always perfect, especially in heartbreak, because that's when His mercy reaches you in ways ease never could. He sends comfort through that's people reminders, and sometimes just stillness. Pay attention, His mercy doesn't always come loud, but it always comes. There are some tears only Allah sees, and some wounds only He understands, and that's enough. You don't need validation from the world when the Lord of the worlds is caring for you personally. You were never alone in your heartbreak. You were always being held, shaped, and elevated. When people walk away from your pain, Allah stays. When your voice shakes too much to pray, He hears your silence. When the nights feel endless, His mercy stretches even longer. Hold on to that. Let your heartbreak become the reason you run to Him, not away from Him. The deeper the heartbreak, the deeper the growth. Allah never wastes your suffering. He uses it to mold you, elevate you, and pull you closer to Him. What felt like a breaking point was actually a turning point. You just couldn't see it yet, but one day you will, and you'll say, Alhamdulillah, for every tear. So today, if you're heartbroken, don't despair. Your pain is not a punishment. It's a sign that Allah loves you enough to purify you through it. Trust that mercy is being written into your story even now. You're not being destroyed. You're being rebuilt by the most merciful for something greater. The silence you fear is often Allah's way of building you quietly. Silence has a way of making us feel abandoned. When you pray and the world stays still, when you cry but nothing changes, when your heart breaks and all you hear is your own breath echoing back. It's easy to assume you've been forgotten, but the silence you fear isn't Allah's absence. It's often His gentlest form of presence. Allah doesn't always respond with loud signs. Sometimes His mercy comes quietly, like peace settling in your chest during sujood, or a tear that feels strangely comforting. You don't see anything change around you, but something starts shifting inside you. That's Him working in places the world can't see. We live in a world of noise and instant validation. So when Allah chooses silence, we think something is wrong. But look at the story of Asif al-Islam, betrayed, enslaved, imprisoned, no miracles, no loud answers, just quiet endurance. Yet through that silence, Allah was shaping a leader and writing a legacy. Your silent seasons are not punishment, they're preparation. Just as seeds grow best underground, hidden from sight, your soul strengthens when you are unseen, uncelebrated, and fully dependent on Allah. He hides you not to reject you, but to protect what He's building in you. Sometimes Allah removes noise so you can finally hear your soul. In silence, you become aware of your thoughts, your heart's clutter, and your misplaced hopes. It's uncomfortable, but it's sacred. You begin to see that only Allah deserves the weight of your trust. Everything else is fragile. Even the Prophet experienced divine silence. In moments of great trial, revelation paused, but Allah wasn't absent. He was preparing His beloved for deeper strength, greater missions, and bigger impact. If the most loved by Allah endured quiet seasons, then know your silence is not a sign of rejection. Turning worry into worship, silence teaches you to stop performing faith and start living it. When no one's watching and the test lingers and the doors don't open, your worship becomes real, your du'as become sincere, your reliance becomes unshakable. That's the power of silent growth. Sometimes the silence is Allah saving you from rushing into something unripe. You're asking to move, but He's anchoring you because your foundation must be strong before your elevation comes. What you think is stagnation is actually divine construction. In the silence, your character is tested. Do you stay kind without applause? Do you stay grateful without visible blessings? Do you keep praying when nothing changes? These quiet moments refine your sincerity and strip away ego. It's Allah teaching you who you are without the world's noise. Look at Musa al-Islam. Before he became the one to part the sea, he spent years in desert, in obscurity, no spotlight, no stage, just time with his Lord. That silence was not wasted. It was essential. It was where he healed, grew, and became strong enough to lead. Silence is not spiritual neglect. It is spiritual intimacy. It's Allah bringing you back to the core, where your faith is not based on signs but trust, not based on emotions but belief. In silence, Allah is not doing less, He's doing something deeper. The quiet moments are where you begin to realize it's not about what you feel, it's about who you trust. Trust in Allah is not proven in answered prayers. It's proven in the pauses. It's proven in your patience. When the heavens are quiet, but your heart remains faithful. Silence often means Allah is working behind the scenes. He's aligning people, clearing paths, testing hearts. You may not see it yet, but faith means trusting the plan even before it's revealed. If He's silent, it means something is still growing in your favor. So when life feels silent, don't panic, don't rush, don't beg for noise. Sit with Allah, speak in whispers, listen in stillness. Trust that the silence is sacred. It is not the end of your story. It's the chapter where the author is quietly strengthening the main character. You were never forgotten in the silence. You were being rebuilt. Every second of stillness was a divine investment in your soul, and one day when the noise returns, you'll realize the silence didn't break you. It built you, and you'll whisper, Alhamdulillah, for the quiet that healed me. Tawakkul means letting go of how and when and trusting who. Tawakkul is not just a word. It is a surrender of the heart. It means releasing the grip you have on the outcome and turning it over to Allah. It's the quiet whisper in your chest that says, even if I don't understand this, I know Allah does. True tawakkul begins where your control ends. We often stress over the how. How will I succeed? How will I heal? How will this be fixed? But Tawakkul teaches us that the how belongs to Allah. Your job is not to figure out every step. Your job is to trust the one who wrote the steps before you were born. Then comes the when, the waiting, the delay, the unanswered prayers. That's where most hearts start healing, begins with trust to doubt. But Tawakkul means trusting Allah's timing more than your own urgency. What you call late, He calls perfect. His clock never misses, it prepares. Think of Maryam alone, pregnant, in pain, and yet she was told to shake the tree. Allah didn't remove her hardship instantly, but He guided her gently through it. That's Tawakkul, taking the step with tears in your eyes, knowing Allah is near. Tawakkul is not passive. It doesn't mean sitting still and doing nothing. It means doing your best with full faith that Allah will take care of the rest. You plant the seed, He sends the rain. You knock on the door, He opens the right one. Many fear surrender because they equate it with weakness. But in Islam, surrender to Allah is the highest strength. When you trust Him fully, you are no longer shaken by circumstances. The winds may blow, but your heart stays anchored. The Prophet showed us the most powerful example of Tawakkul in the cave during Hira, surrounded by danger. He said to Abu Bakr, "Do not be sad. Allah is with us." He didn't panic. He didn't question. That is faith in the who, not the how. Tawakkul does not guarantee life will go the way you imagined. In fact, it often doesn't. But it guarantees that whatever happens will be what's best for your soul, even if it feels hard on your heart. That's divine love, not punishment. One of the most humbling parts of Tawakkul is realizing that your knowledge is limited. What you beg Allah to keep, He may remove. What you fear losing, He may replace. And what you delay trusting, He may still save you from, because He knows, and you do not. Ibrahim stood ready to sacrifice what he loved most, not knowing the outcome, only trusting the one who asked for it. That is the heart of Tawakkul. Obedience without full clarity, love without full explanation. Tawakkul gives peace in places that make no sense. When you trust Allah, even storms feel purposeful, even silence feels full, even pain feels sacred. It's not about what you feel, it's about who you hold on to when nothing else feels steady. Sometimes the when is long, very long, but every prophet endured the wait. Nuhum waited for centuries. Yusuf waited in a prison. Even the Prophet Sallallahu waited years for victory. Their hearts never let go of who, even when the how was invisible. When you finally let go of trying to control every detail, life softens, stress fades. You breathe again, you learn to say, this is hard, but Allah is handling it. And that simple belief, even in tears, becomes your strength. Tawakkul doesn't mean you won't be tested. It means you'll be held. The divine plan is already working through the test. It doesn't remove fear, but it quiets it. It doesn't erase pain, but it gives purpose to it. Trusting Allah doesn't make life perfect. It makes your heart secure. So if you're tired, overwhelmed, or confused, remember, you don't need to know how it will happen. You don't need to know when relief will come. You only need to know who is writing your story, and that's always been enough, because He's Alman. Your dua doesn't disappear. It transforms. Your dua is never lost. Every whisper you raise to the sky is heard. Even if you never see the answer in the form you expected, Allah does not ignore a sincere heart. When you call upon Him, something begins to shift. Maybe not in the world outside, but certainly in the world within. Dua is not just a request. It's a form of surrender. It's the admission that you are not in control and that you trust the one who is. The moment you lift your hands, you align your soul with the decree of Allah, and that alignment carries power beyond what the eye can measure. Sometimes you think your dua wasn't answered, but what you didn't see was how it diverted harm, softened trials, or delayed something that wasn't good for your future. You asked for a door. Allah protected you by never letting it open. That is mercy disguised as silence. The Prophet taught us that dua can't change. It's not just a ritual, it's a force. When you beg with sincerity, when your heart breaks open before Allah, the unseen shifts. What was written in the sky bends in response to the echo of your voice calling upon Al-Rahman. You may feel unheard, especially when the wait is long, but know this: every dua leaves your lips but never hits the ground. It rises, and even if the world does not respond. The heavens have already recorded it, honored it, and will respond at the best time. Dua does not always bring what you want. Sometimes it brings what you need. You ask for ease, and Allah sends strength. You ask for love, and He teaches you self-worth. You ask for success, and He grants you patience. Each is an answer dressed in divine wisdom. The most powerful transformations often come quietly. When you make dua, you may not see a lightning strike or a miracle in the sky, but a shift happens. Your heart becomes calmer. Your soul becomes stronger. The problem may remain, but the storm inside you stills. Remember Yunus in the belly of the whale. No one could hear him except Allah. He called out from the darkness. That dua changed his. He was saved, not by force, but by faith. Dua is not just a moment. It's a meeting. It's where your heart meets Allah's mercy. It's where your fears meet His wisdom. And even if you repeat the same dua 1,000 times, know that it's not in vain. Each repetition is polishing your soul for what's coming. We live in a world that demands instant results, but dua teaches us divine timing. It trains the soul in trust. The delay is not punishment, it's preparation. Allah may be aligning the entire universe just to answer your dua at the perfect moment. Sometimes Allah holds back the thing you asked for, not to hurt you, but to elevate you. He wants your heart to reach a level of sincerity, humility, or patience that only this weight can build. Your dua is transforming you even before it transforms you. Even the angels respond to your dua. They say Amen. When you pray for others, they witness your pain, they carry your words, and when Allah commands it, they deliver the response in ways you never imagined. Your voice echoes louder in the heavens than you think. If only you could see the doors that closed because of a dua you forgot you made. If only you knew the dangers you were saved from, the people you were protected from, and the heartbreaks that never came, all because you once turned to Allah and whispered sincerely. So never stop making dua, even when you're tired, even when you feel it's not working. Dua is not always about the outcome. It's about the connection. It's about choosing hope in the face of silence. And Allah loves the servant who never gives up on His mercy. In the end, it's not about whether your dua was answered how you wanted. It's about knowing that the moment you made it, yours was already being rewritten with more compassion, more wisdom, and more love than you could ever imagine. Trust that always, Allah is never late. He's protecting you from what you can't yet see. Allah's timing is never random. When something doesn't arrive on your schedule, it's not because He's forgotten you. It's because He knows what lies ahead. Things you cannot see, people you haven't met, roads you're not ready for. His delay is often His mercy disguised as a pause. You may feel stuck while others are moving forward. You pray, you hope, and still nothing changes. But Allah isn't withholding to hurt you. He's holding back to help you. Maybe the door you wanted to walk through leads to harm, and only He can see that. Think of the story of Musa alayhissalam when he fled Egypt. What looked like a setback, being exiled and alone, was Allah placing him in exactly the right position to one day return as a prophet. It wasn't a delay, it was preparation in disguise. We want everything quickly, love, success, healing. But what we forget is that quick things often collapse. Allah builds with wisdom. What takes time lasts longer. He slows things down to strengthen your foundation before He elevates your life. You might ask, why not now, ya Allah? But if you saw what He was protecting you from, you would fall into sujud in gratitude for every delay. Not every no is a rejection. Some are a divine redirection away from unseen storms. There's a reason why the Quran reminds us, indeed, Allah is with the patient. 2:153, not just to endure hardship, but to build trust. When Allah doesn't answer right away, He is deepening your reliance on Him alone and breaking your dependence on outcomes. Delays often feel painful because we associate them with failure. But in Allah's plan, delay is not denial. It's space. Space to grow, space to learn, and space for His plan to unfold without rushing what's not ready. Remember the Prophet during the years of hardship in Makkah. The victory of Islam didn't come overnight. It came after patience, persistence, and silent sacrifices. Every moment of waiting was part of a divine sequence calculated with perfection. The silence of Allah isn't absence. It's a sacred stillness. He may be arranging your life behind the curtain. You don't see the movements, but you will see the result when the time is right. He is never late. He is never early. He is always on time. Sometimes you feel your duas are unanswered, but every sincere dua is a seed. Some grow instantly, some grow slowly, and some take root in the unseen, nurturing what will blossom at the exact time your soul needs it most. Tests you face while waiting are not punishment. They're purification. They are strengthening your character, reshaping your heart, and preparing you for what you've been asking for. But in a version of yourself that can carry it well, even pain can be protection. That heartbreak, that missed opportunity, that job, you didn't get. What if they were all barriers Allah placed to steer you away from harm and towards something far greater than your limited plans? Let's not forget the story of Uwissam, betrayed, imprisoned, forgotten. Yet each chapter of his hardship was a divine step toward honor. Had he been freed earlier, he may have never reached the position of influence Allah had written for him. We measure time with impatience, but Allah measures time with purpose. When things don't happen how we want, we often assume something is wrong. But Allah's delay might just be His way of setting things right in ways we can't comprehend yet. So trust the pause, trust the silence, trust the moment where nothing makes sense, because that's often where Allah is working the hardest. He's not punishing you, He's positioning you. And when the time comes, you will look back and say, Alhamdulillah for the wait. So the next time your pillow catches your tears, remember Allah saw them before they even fell. When you feel like everything is standing still, trust that your Rabb is already in motion. He is Aleph, the most subtle, and His plans unfold in perfect silence and perfect timing. Let your worry turn into worship. Let your fear turn into dua. And let your waiting become your witness that even when life gave you every reason to break, your faith gave you every reason to keep going. What you're crying about today may be the very thing you thank Allah for tomorrow. In His wisdom, there is no mistake, only mercy, only love, only purpose.